Greetings and welcome to the Supply Drop episode 42, a game podcast created by three people who know there aren't enough video game podcasts out there. My name is Nate. I'll be your host. I'm joined by two other co-hosts today, the first of which is Scott.
Hello.
Scott, give us a line from a movie, any movie, and me and Thick will try to guess it.
Why don't you put her in charge?
I don't know it, Thick. Why don't you put her in charge?
I feel like...
okay. I think I know it. I know it.
Okay.
Aliens.
Yes.
Oh, is it really?
Okay.
Yeah.
Was it Bill? It's not Bill Paxton.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm awesome.
Yep.
I think, actually, when you said aliens, that's who I first thought. Because you sounded like them.
That was good, too, because you didn't have that in the chamber. You just came out that pretty quick.
Yeah.
Scott, you did so good on that. That might be a reoccurring segment on the show, question on the show, all right?
Yeah, let him take care of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm a little slower with this, so.
Well, that other voice you hear is our third co-host. His name is Thick.
Hello.
Thick, can you tell us what getting word that you're benched, theoretically, all right? Not really. Tell us what getting word that you're benched as a backup playtester. Just what emotions?
What are you feeling right now?
Or and again, this is all theoretical. It's not like right.
No,
right.
Yeah.
I guess.
Is there a good descriptive word? A color, maybe a color.
I guess consolation prize. I get free stuff, but I don't get to check the new game or whatever.
Okay.
If that's the case.
Okay. So I think you answered that pretty well.
He's feeling like Matt Damon on Jimmy Kimmel, I'm guessing.
Oh, that's right.
He gets bumped every night.
Sorry, we don't have time. Right. All right, guys. In this week's podcast, we'll be covering a few different things. You want to hear what we're covering? The Diablo 4 Server Slam, Enter the Gungeon, Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, Blizzard's work from home policy, Nintendo's financials, Electronic Arts plans for the future, and even we'll make some PlayStation Showcase predictions. Oh, wow. Yeah. That sounds exciting. All right.
Let's get into it.
I guess before we get started, I want to remind listeners they can drop us a comment, question, or an insult at the Supply Drop Podcast YouTube channel. But first, Scott, tell us how your week went.
It went rather blue. From Monday, I started getting a lot of blue screens on my PC, and after diagnosing for a couple of days, I found out I had a bad stick of memory. So I contacted SkyTech Gaming. They were super helpful. I got the culprit out of my system into a box, and it's shipped off to them for a replacement. So now I'm 16 gigs single channel like a peasant. But everything's working and everything's fine. And I did get to play a little bit of Diablo 4 this weekend. And on the PC side, I did notice, and maybe it's just a longer period between this beta or the last beta and this one, but everything looked much better. Like the last one, I think I played everything at medium, which still looked fine, but just because it was having a little bit of some stutters and a little bit of slowdown. And when I mean slow down, like from 80 to 60, but noticeable.
Yeah,
so to make it smooth, I just put everything on medium, still looked fine. This, it auto-detected at high, and I was able to go in and tweak a little bit even more. And I was it played fantastic. It was super stable, no stutters, no anything. That game is extremely detailed. The artwork.
Wait, what game? What game is this?
Diablo 4.
Oh, okay.
And so, and this is probably really close to
what we'll get, right?
Yeah, what we're going to get in a couple of weeks. So I'm really excited. I didn't have a lot of time. We had a lot of stuff going on this weekend, unfortunately, real life. So I didn't get a chance to play a lot of it. But, man, I'm really excited to see that the performance has come up on the PC side. Nate, I know you got to play some of it on console. Did it look any different to you?
My eye is not very perceptive to any minor changes. So I would say no, it didn't look any different at all to me.
Do you think it looks good though, like visually?
Yeah, when I play, I don't think about the visuals at all. I think it looks fine. It looks good.
Yeah.
You know.
Okay.
I don't know if it looks out of this world. You know.
I think I really like because it's not cartoony, but it's like this in between, right? Like it's
I don't know if I would say that because they did that with Diablo 3 and everybody hated it. You know,
I feel like the proportions, at least on some of the bigger characters, looks a little Street Fighter-y. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They have this almost clay-like feel to it. I don't know how to really describe
I hear
it.
you.
It's not like super realistic.
Oh, you're talking about like the animations and stuff. Yeah. Okay,
yeah.
I see what you're saying. Yeah. Yeah, it's not. I mean, it's obviously a fantasy game, but they're definitely going with more of a darker tone, darker fantasy. And maybe it's just playing games like Fortnite and Redfall and a lot of these games. Overwatch is another one that has this cartoony, stylist kind of look to it. And
you're over that look, right?
Yeah, I'm just getting a little tired of it. I mean, it's fine and everything, but it's just when you see something like Diablo 4, it's like super detailed, and in the opposite way, it's very striking. So getting really excited.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. I played it a lot. Actually, I played this more than I
level
played.
20, didn't you?
Level 20, I finally beat the boss. At first, so you can play two difficulties of the world, basically, right?
Right.
And I tried it on the hard difficulty, barely got a quarter health down. Yeah. So, I was playing in more range because I know you're supposed to really get behind them, but I didn't really do that. Mm-hmm. And I played on like the easy tier, and it was okay. So I still beat the boss. You get whatever reward it was. I don't know what it is, but I still wanted to try the boss. Yeah. During the boss, it did feel slightly laggy. Like when he kills you with his like main move, like it lags a little bit. You don't die instantly.
What were you playing on?
Xbox.
Okay.
So I don't know if like you experienced that. Have you tried the boss yet?
I didn't with this build. I didn't get that far.
The previous one was okay?
Yeah. The previous one was okay. Well, I mean, it was dependent on the settings that I had, my graphic settings. So everything was just like a little bit hitchy. And then going down to just set everything to medium, it was really smooth. But going into towns and stuff, it was more lag. You could tell it was more lag because, you would do something or buy something and you're like, where'd it go? And you start to walk off and it goes ding, you got it. I don't think it was more performance than actual just,
it's network. I think it was more network.
Yeah, I mean, that's why they were doing this last beta was to really stress the servers to see, what their launch is going to look like. And I didn't have any queues.
I had none either.
I think a lot less people played this time though. Maybe because they did ZELDA.
Yeah, right. not the best weekend probably, but it's still a good sign. It's still a good sign that, not having those queues or long waits. So yeah. I'm in.
Relatively smooth.
Yeah, it's good, man. Yeah. It's like this year just seems to be like a hit and miss with everything. Yeah. So this looks like it's going to be a hit.
I do want to say I was mad at both of you for about 48 hours because I played Diablo 4 up until I got my
Rogue.
Rogue? I got my Rogue to I think level 14. Mm-hmm. The reason why I did it because I was like, I'm gonna play with you two. We never hooked up.
I saw your message too late.
Okay.
I did too. I saw it the next morning. I'm like, ooh.
Yeah.
No, that's fine. I forgave you. It took me a couple days to forgive you, but I found it in my heart.
That's why we're filming this a little late, right?
That's right.
we were
each time I'm like,
yeah.
All right, Scott. That was your week. Thick. Yeah. How was your week?
It's pretty good. I think this weekend was my birthday weekend, actually. So
happy birthday!
Happy belated.
Yes. Thank you. I enjoyed like a Brazilian steakhouse, whatever. Have you guys had those before, like Brazilian steakhouses? It's where they bring the meat to you and you kind of get unlimited. It's pretty fun.
Oh, really?
So I had that kind of as my meal.
That's cool.
Then aside from that, I played a lot of. I mostly played Diablo 4, to be honest. I did pick up Tears of the Kingdom.
Okay, finally we get here. How much time did you put into this?
Like 10 minutes. Yeah.
And you went back to Diablo.
Yeah, basically I was like playing it, like, you know, getting ready to sleep. I was like, oh, let me see what's going on. And then, you know, it's like an intro sequence, you know, it's a little guided. Yeah, like, you know, Zelda's talking to you about some stuff. And then I was like, okay, we're going like in the caverns. I think like, you know, the caverns are like that extra underground levels, whatever.
Yeah.
And I didn't get much further than that, unfortunately. So I can't really talk about it. But you know, I know Zelda's gonna be here, and I'll probably have a better impression next week. And you know, maybe with a little less hype, it'll be a little bit less, you know, biased by the hype.
Yeah, I mean, the Diablo server slam was limited, so
yeah. I will say, going on Twitter, seeing some of the stuff with Tears of the Kingdom, it is pretty insane. Yeah. It's like, what did they make? Did they make Armored Core 6? You know what I mean? Have you seen some of those things? Yeah, right.
So I did play one more game. I mean, I finally played Spider-Man. So
2018?
Yeah, 2018. I finally played it, and I'd say, I enjoyed it a lot more than I expected. Like, when I first saw it, all I saw in it was Sunset Overdrive 2.0. But then,
I could see that.
The real big difference to it would really be, I guess, the traversal, right? Because like in Sunset I actually decided to play the PC version of Sunset Overdrive again just to see how I felt about it. You know, it's interesting because Sunset Overdrive is a very almost like it's a more mature kind of like game, like it's bloody, it's gory. There's a lot of adult humor. I wouldn't. Okay, maybe not adult humor, but
South Parky or something.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, and then you go to the Marvel Spider-Man, and it's a lot more family friendly.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's more like a Marvel movie. Yeah.
Yeah. I really like the web slinging in it. I think I found myself. I haven't even gotten far in the story. I've just basically unlocked all the towers in the map. I like how each region in the map there's like 3 towers, so it kind of slowly opens up the open world map to you instead of flooding it with everything. So I like that they approached it that way. Everything about the game is very just polished. Like mostly, I have a few bugs, especially with like the bonus objectives. Like they say it's complete, but then it's not complete. But I mean that's not a huge deal. The combat's okay to me because it has a lot of moves and there's a lot of flashy stuff, but the combat doesn't have that feel I like. Mostly, like it doesn't have much weight, in my opinion. Something like Kingdom Hearts is another game that I think doesn't have much weight, but it's not a deal breaker. It's just I would like it to be a little bit more weighty. Ghost of Tsushima, also the same thing. Like it's not weighty enough for me.
Scott, when Thick says it's not weighty, I don't even know what that means. What does weighty mean?
Well, I mean, for me, it's usually that you're when you connect, when you punch somebody,
like you feel it.
Yeah,
game
it doesn't
feel.
there's
game
like
feel.
There's
I struggle. I struggle.
When your character hits something else, there's like 20 things that happen, and if they don't all sync up, it feels a little off. The sound, the haptic feedback, or the
visual,
the visual, the feedback from the enemy. It's all got to hit just right.
Okay.
And,
it's kind of like you're hitting, like you're swinging a wet noodle in the game in a way.
Yeah, it just kind of feels like you're fighting mannequins, really, to me.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like maybe the ragdoll physics are a little overdone, or. But I see that. That was really probably for me my least favorite thing about that game was that it got repetitive, almost like a fighting game. Like when you play your brother, in Street Fighter or something, you have that combo down, click 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 click, click, and you just beat him every time. You're like click click click. It kind of started to feel like that. Like you get this combo down and you can beat anybody with it, and so there's not a lot of depth to it. But I kind of get that too. Like Thick said, it's for everyone. I mean, it's Spider-Man. It's not like, get good.
Yeah.
It's Dark Souls of, Marvel heroes.
Yeah, I almost compare the combat a little bit to Shadow of War or Mordor, but I like that one better because
Yeah,
it is
that
weightier.
Yeah, it is weightier. The way that the animations for the swings, like the sword swings and stuff, are really well done in that game.
Yeah.
So when it connects or it doesn't or it blocks, you feel it. Jedi Survivor, I think, does that a lot better than the first game most of the time. It's kind of hit or miss with that. But I think they nail it 50% of the time.
I think I will get that game this week. Hopefully, maybe I'll have an impression next week.
It's good. I'm really enjoying it. I mean, it's a graphical goofball, aside. But
so was that also something you played this week? Or
that's one of the games that after the patch it wouldn't start. It would just crash, and that's where I started to get it kind of snowballed into okay, something's going on. But good thing about computers is you got something that goes bad, you just replace it and you keep going, and you don't have to ship off your whole computer to somebody and hope you get it back. So. But yeah, I don't even know where I am in that game. It seems like I've put like 20 something hours into it. And I'm just doing I'm not doing really anything out of the ordinary or anything side quest wise. So, I don't know. I guess I'm getting close to the end of it.
Okay. Definite upgrade over the first one.
I would say so, yeah. Not so much in I like the story and the setting better in the first one, but everything else in this one is definitely a sequel upgrade.
Okay, all right.
Good sequel.
Well, I'll be sure to pick that up on PS Plus when it hits in 5 years, right before that, because I think that's how I got the last one.
The last one,
yeah. All right, so Thick, was that it for your week?
That's it. Let's hear what you played.
That's about it. Well, I'll finally talk about the game everyone's been dying to hear about, which is 2014's Enter the Gungeon, right?
Yeah.
I know I brought this up last time, but I just told you I was hate playing Diablo 4 just because I wanted to hook up with you guys. Mm-hmm. So what I did was I played Scott. What was my first class that I didn't like to play? The not the Beastmaster.
It was the Druid. Yeah.
It was the Druid, right? So I played a bunch of the Druid, didn't have a good time. Then I played I'm sorry, what is the range character?
Rogue.
The Rogue. I played the Rogue and I was hooked for 5 hours. I was in it. It was directly into my veins, right? So then I played the essentially all the same stuff with the Rogue again, obviously last weekend. Mm-hmm. And I'm saying, like, how come I'm so not enjoying this? And how come Enter the Gungeon? Enter the Gungeon just has you repeating the same. You're doing the same 30-minute loop the entire time. And for me, it's so much more enjoyable than what I was doing with Diablo 4. And I'm going to tell you. So go ahead.
Okay, go. No. You tell first.
I think I know why. I think I know. So Enter the Gungeon. I think there's 5 levels, right? I think at the end of the 5th level, you face the final boss. I've seen him once. I haven't beaten him at all, but so obviously that first level is like the intro. It's like you're supposed to be doing a good job in that first one, and it gets progressively harder. Mm-hmm. I feel like a lot of games when they feed you that real easy stuff, it's like mindless. Like I instantly shut my brain off. I'm like, oh, this is like there's no consequences here. In Enter the Gungeon, the game will still nick you for health, and it will still incentivize you to kind of go through that flawlessly, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you still want to play it as good as possible because then you're like more prepared for the second level. And then the second level, which is still somewhat easy, you want to get through that as flawlessly as you can because you want to prepare yourself for the end game, right? Mm-hmm. And I just feel like Diablo doesn't do that at all. Diablo just says like, oh, you died, let's go back 20 seconds, let's try to do this again. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really which did you play on World Tier 1 or World Tier 2? The hard difficulty?
Yeah, I think I played it on the easier one, which maybe that's a mistake. That probably is a mistake. Cuz it was so mindless for me. Now the reason why I did it is because I just wanted to get to like a decent level so I could hook up with you guys,
Oh, okay.
Now I know I think you can level up quicker on a harder difficulty, but But I will say this: Enter the Gungeon does not give you choices. It just says, "I'm going to kill you. You're going to enter this dungeon, and we're going to kill you." Right? Like it wants you to leave the dungeon. And I feel like Diablo's like, no, just come a little closer. You don't leave. You know what I mean? It's like a totally opposite way of approaching the player. And I'm totally. I'm on board with Enter the Gungeon. That philosophy, you might say.
Did you play around with your rogue build a lot, or did you mostly keep the same?
I would say I kept more of the same than I did not, just because you're reading the 5 little things, and I just feel like my brain gravitates. I'm like, oh, I can use that one. That one seems fun to me. Now, most of them, I feel like I repeated, which again, that's probably not a good idea, but
Well, there's nothing wrong with that, but I did play the rogue again, and purposely started a completely different build with it, and I did find that.
Oh, you did.
Well, I think that like the first build I had was better.
Okay.
But you can cater more to like a melee style with with some of these things, and mine was more balanced the first go around. But this one I didn't like as much, but it does kind of open up the fact that you have so much opportunity to make these different builds on each one of these characters. And it's, Diablo 4 something that's like, it's in for the long haul. It's like, it starts you out easy. It's like, oh, isn't this fun? Yeah. It's great. And then you get to that second act and just somebody comes with a hammer and just you're toast.
Okay.
So yeah, something like Enter the Gungeon is that smaller, repetitive, just game loop. Or Diablo is just, it's more sprawling and more open.
It's more of a bigger arc. I always like to say big arc versus a little arc. Yeah, I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying.
So that's not, and we've talked about this before. It's like sometimes you don't want that. You want the little thing. You want the little,
like
sessions
Vampire Survivors.
Right, exactly. You just want to go in and play for a little bit.
Right.
Diablo is like, it's not really something you just go and I'm going to play for 10 minutes.
Yeah, it becomes really part of your life. It becomes part of your life. Yeah.
I'm going to play for 10 minutes. Hey, it's time to go to work the next day.
I will say this to add on to that discussion. I feel like, Enter the Gungeon, each level has like 1 to 3 chests, and each chest has like an upgrade for your character. Mm-hmm. And I kind of find that more interesting than Diablo's way of upgrading your character, because Diablo says like, this is the upgrade tree. Pick what suits you better. With Gungeon's design, it says like, these are the guns we're giving you. Like, you just randomly got 3 guns, and then you kind of have to like base your playstyle around, okay, this is my favorite of the 3 that they gave me.
It does force you to adapt.
It feels like it's fresher, you know what I mean? And it forces you to be fresher. But
I see what you mean.
Yeah. But maybe next week I'll talk more about Enter the Gungeon, because it's such a hot game right now, right?
You should try with multiplayer if possible.
Blowing up Twitter.
Yeah.
No, I did look into the multiplayer, but apparently it's like local co-op only, right?
Oh yeah, I forgot.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it's not online. Yeah.
Wow.
At least Google. That's what Google told me.
Can't you do like that couch share or whatever on PS4 or?
Oh, can you do that?
Yeah, like where you have someone join you kind of on your console.
That'd be interesting to try.
Yeah, virtual couch or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe I'll look into that.
Co-op is dying, is it not? It's just that's
no, co-op is not dying. Did you see? It Takes Two. Didn't it like reach some? You remember that Game of the Year from a couple years ago that it reached some crazy sales milestone. I don't know if it was like 10 million sales or 15 million sales, but it did phenomenal.
Let's take a look.
It did way more than anybody thought. But I was just I was referring to just co-op in general,
like couch co-op.
Well, no. I mean, just like co-op in general.
It's been a rough week for co-op games.
Yeah, it really.
This week's been rough. Yeah.
I feel like Destiny 2 is really the only like go-to. Get some friends together and go do all these activities.
Well, and Diablo fits that mold, right?
Diablo 4, when it comes out, I'll probably be singing a different tune, but
yeah.
So It Takes Two, 10 million sales.
Surpassed 10 million. When did it surpass it?
I think by February of this month. Of this year,
really?
Right. Yeah.
Oh, it was recently? Okay.
Wow, that's really good. What's the what was the price on that? I think it was like 29.
30. It was 30, 40, I think.
Something. Yeah. I mean, it was on Game Pass, but
yeah.
Did you guys play that?
Yeah, I played.
It is really good.
Yeah, it is
insanely
really
good. Yeah,
and it's a lot longer than expected. Like, it goes for a while.
It seems like a full-fledged game.
Yeah.
That's cool.
You're getting value here.
Absolutely.
It sounds like that developer is interested in just continuing to push in that co-op direction. I think his next game co-op
I think
too,
so.
which I think that's pretty interesting.
Yeah, the one he did before that, No Way Out, about the two guys in prison.
Right.
Was
That one also took a long time.
Yeah. My wife and I played that, and it was not as enjoyable. It was more of like, what are you doing? Kind of.
Yeah.
Why are you doing that? It's like, I don't know.
Really?
It was a little like fight inducing.
Yeah.
It's like,
yeah.
Right. Where It Takes Two was more just fun and
Interesting.
Yeah, the game itself is just an interesting way to take two people and work together to accomplish these things, where each thing that you're doing is not complicated, but doing them together takes cooperation, if that makes sense. You just
I love
have
that.
to
I love
play
hearing
it.
that. Yeah.
It's not just like both of these are hard, just do it. It's not like a Destiny 2 raid, right?
Yeah.
Genius game. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. I guess No Way Out walked, so crawled, so this It Takes Two can walk.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
It was mildly successful enough for them to make a very successful game. So that's how it goes sometimes.
All right. So before we kick things off, let's go to our listener feedback segment. Here's where listeners of the Supply Drop participate in the discussion by going to the Supply Drop Podcast YouTube channel and dropping a question, comment, or insult. Let's go over to our listener feedback correspondent, Thick, and see what he has in store for us this week. Come on, Thick. You've been disappointing us every week. You've been disappointing us.
Well, let's see if I'll disappoint this week.
I know.
Nothing this week.
All right, this week's listener feedback segment was brought to you by the photo company Kodak. You push the button and we do the rest. Thanks for sponsoring the show, Kodak.
Thank you, Kodak.
Yes, yeah. We hope to see big things out of that company.
Yep.
All right, let's go to the drop, the segment of our podcast where we talk about the last week's most intriguing news story. Scott, what piqued your interest?
Oh, well, it's kind of like I told you so. No, I don't want to call it that. Just maybe a prediction. But Blizzard, Activision, had what it's called is a return to office policy. And that's where over COVID, of course, everybody got to work at home. Some people moved, further away from the office, and productivity went up. And now that's like, as of April 10th, everybody needs to be in the office at least 3 days a week. So, and I think for Blizzard, it's like May something. So this is going into effect, and just as I predicted, people are leaving. They're leaving in droves. And this is one manager that tweeted, and I'm going to quote this because this kind of sums up everything, but he says, "Being loud about it because I've lost yet another person this week." Game producer Adam Glaxagrav, if I'm pronouncing that right, because I hope so. That sounds like a video game. Tweeted in April, "Blizzard is losing amazing talent because someone in power doesn't listen to the game directors who make his products." I wonder who he's talking about. Adam further stated that we are creating crisis maps of what we can and cannot ship. That is the loss of capacity we're facing. So what's happening is they're losing so much talent. We're going to start seeing ship dates and release dates and content start to go. And one of the major things is that one of the guys was actually talking about Diablo 4. It's like, now we've got all these people leaving. Managers at Diablo 4 are leaving because of this, and now we're supposed to be making content for a live service, and we're not sure how that's going to get done. So, yeah, this is just another one of those. Everybody's happy, everybody's working, production is up, and then somebody decides, well, we need to go back. I want to go back in the office, so everybody else does too. And this is what you get, and this is what I predicted. We're going to start losing talent in all these major studios. Now, all of these people are going to go to another studio that allows them to work at home and allows them to, work in that kind of environment. So I don't know. I mean, what do you guys think about this? Is this detrimental to Diablo 4
let me
and
ask.
WoW and everything else?
I think we'll see something, like how there was the writer strike for, TV shows a while ago. I know there's one going on right now, but I don't know the effects of it yet.
Yeah.
But I remember watching Prison Break. Like, you guys remember that time period?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So I watched the first 2 seasons, and then during the third season, I think, is
There
when
was
they
a
had
strike?
the writer strike.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Could you
And
tell?
that's you could tell the quality of the show. So, maybe we'll start to see that falter in the upcoming year or two. It's not going to happen immediately, but who knows?
Well, I think it's if Diablo 4 is a live service and there's content that's coming out. WoW is obviously it's an MMO. I think in games that are either shipped or awaiting that content, that's where we're going to start seeing it first.
Yeah, I think so too.
Or Overwatch. Overwatch is
Well, there was an Overwatch news story this week, or was it a rumor or a news story?
It was a news story. They announced it. It's hot off the presses that they're canceling the PvE mode, not PvE as a whole, but like the mode where you had a character
what
progression.
Wanted, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, or what they first announced 2019, I believe.
Yeah.
That mode is gone. Yeah, they're not shipping that mode anymore. Which, now a lot of people are saying it's like, why even ship Overwatch 2 to begin with? But I think at this point, it's like you can't really go back, right?
Really, the big upgrade with Overwatch 2, I think the biggest upgrade is instead of 6-on-6, it's 5-on-5. Like that's what the sequel looks like.
I mean, because like they were planning to do multiplayer free anyways, but like the PvE mode was supposed to be what Overwatch 2 was. But now at this point, it's it's kind of firmly cemented as Overwatch 1.2.
Okay.
I'm not super mad. I'm disappointed because. But I would like to, I'm not surprised at this point, I guess. I remember I told you guys I predicted earlier they would do a box release of like maybe $40 for the PvE mode, but I'm wrong. I admit I'm wrong. So.
It takes a big man. It takes a big man to say that.
Yeah. So I lost a little money off of that, right?
Yeah.
So one thing though, like going back to the work from home thing, do you guys have experience from it from your own like people or like any opinions on it?
Yeah, my wife works at home.
Is she affected where they're not? There's no like go back to office policy, right?
No, her role is actually a work at home. She has to go in the office once every 2 weeks to do a couple of things. And then that's pretty much it. But after where she worked before during COVID, it was like 50% staff. So half the staff would work for 2 weeks, then half the staff would work at home. So they alternated. The problem
2 weeks on, 2 weeks off,
right? But the problem is that you're always at 50% capacity. So you do the same amount of work with half the staff.
What is the staff that's at home doing?
Nothing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they just got paid to just, be on call. I mean, if somebody had a question or something, it was really weird.
Yeah.
But I mean, it made sense. It's like, okay, if somebody gets sick, then your whole office doesn't get sick, right? It's okay, you're sick, you go home. Somebody that's home, you come in, which didn't happen. Nobody got sick, but so it was just kind of a waste. But yeah, it's that's not the perfect example. But her job now. If they said, yeah, you got to come in the office, clear across town and do the same job, I would assume that she'd be like, no, thanks. I'm going to go work somewhere else. Because when you do work at home, it's your day starts at a certain time. You just walk in your office and you're at work and then you work. And then when she gets done, she closes her laptop and she walks out the door and she's at home. So what's your cost for doing that? There's no gas money that you're spending going to work.
Well, can I play a devil's advocate? Can I try? Okay. So how you're so it's someone up writing the checks is saying like, we want you in the offices now. We don't want to do this, work from home thing anymore, right? Mm-hmm. Don't you think the people crunching the numbers are like, actually our efficiency when we have a large number of employees from working from home is actually decreasing? Don't you think that's what they're seeing? And they're like, we got to get back in the offices?
I do have some perspective because I've worked with companies that have done this specific. And I would say that part of the reason is maybe efficiency to an extent. And And, it really would depend on the company as well. But I think it depends if the company also has a lot of buildings that they like
Oh,
have
okay.
a certain lease on, right? So
Yeah.
if they lease like long term and it's empty, they're paying for an empty building,
Right.
and they're at least if they have people coming in, they have a reason to use it, I guess.
Yeah,
All
that's
right, I
usually
see
the
that.
reason. It's just real estate. Yeah.
Yeah. Now that the collateral too is like when everyone's working from home, the local economy in a way kind of suffers in a way. Like the
People aren't
restaurants
going
in that
out.
area. Yeah. So there's probably some incentives somewhere along the line for that too. But I mean,
Right.
as an employee, that's really not your. It's
Yeah.
you shouldn't have to worry about it. But
Right,
it's just
not
it
your
is a collateral.
responsibility to cover
Yeah.
the
Right.
restaurants around your
Yeah.
work. It's like, oh no, I need to help out. help
But
them
yeah,
out.
but those people will probably they could lose their job. So that's a a different perspective. Now,
Right.
Yeah,
like I
but
said.
that's this was going to have to happen at some point. There has
Yeah.
to be some shift in employment.
Yeah.
This 9 to 5, meetings all day, not getting anything done is that's how Dad did it. That's not how everybody else wants to do it. And there's a lot of startup companies that they rent an office. They have a couple of cubicles and a receptionist and some phone numbers, and that's it. That's all you need. And you can run
Right.
your entire business out of that, and everybody works, remotely. Now, when your productivity goes lower, there are people that will go in and say, okay, these 4 people are not doing anything.
Right.
They're
Yeah.
watching Netflix at home, obviously, because nothing's getting done. And those, those people go away, and you get new people in. So
Yeah.
I think this just shows that people are tired of office life. It's totally irrelevant now. Internet is an all-time expanse and speed and available everywhere, and home computers are better than anything you're going to have at work, and people have had a little bit of taste of that home life, where it's like, hey, when I get done, I like I said, I close the laptop, open the door, there's your family, dinner's ready. You get to sit down and have dinner with your kids and stuff.
Right.
People are tired of missing out on that, and it's showing.
Yeah.
So if the productivity's not going down, then you just need to get back to work. Just do your job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess I also think over the past 2 years, we've had a ton of announcements of new studios kind of opening.
Mhm.
And I would think a lot of people in this business, like the games, I would say are probably lean more towards let's think future facing, let's think kind of like Scott thinks, let's do this work from home thing. They'd be more open to that. They're not conservative curmudgeons who are
Right.
Yeah.
but I think are they opening new studios that's purely work from home studios? We don't have to, or are they actually trying to secure buildings because these people who are progressive in that way, they're still no, actually having a building where 100 people get together is just way more competitive than having no building with 100 people doing their own, you know what I mean? Right?
Well, I think it's maybe it just depends on the game you're making or the kind.
Yeah.
There's a total conversion of Half-Life called Black Mesa. Do you guys know what that is?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's made by I think about 100 people, but it was 100 people that most of them have not even met. It was just an open product that's okay, if you can come in and work on this and work on this artwork or work on these sounds, and people just contributed,
So were they getting paid?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I think
so
everybody
it's a fan thing though, right?
It was a fan thing, but it ended up being a purchasable product. So I think people got paid, ultimately.
Okay.
But
All
it was more of a, hey, and some of them were game developers. They're like, I really want to work on this on my spare time,
Yeah.
So it got done, since nobody was getting really paid at the time, it didn't get done it took years, obviously.
Okay.
So I think it could be done. It just, it's probably like any other game studio. It's got to work, how well you work together. You can tell some studios just obviously work great together, and then you can see some that are just like, what are you doing?
Don't you also see if you're a small studio, let's say you got what is that 9 Dot Studio from Outward? Remember Outward had 9 developers. I could see like 9 people, like a small number of people who are like, let's work from home and let's get this to work.
Yeah.
But if you're like a 500 person or 1,000 person studio where you're just a little cog in a machine, and then you're at home and you're like, I got Netflix over there. I can go to my kitchen. I'm just this little piece of the. Who's really going to notice if I kind of slack off a little bit today? Whereas if you're at that 9-dot studio and you're slacking off, it's like all 8 people are like, we're watching, right?
Yeah, the one guy doing like all the music. It's like, hey,
dude, you didn't
right. It's like this track is missing. What are you doing?
Yeah.
No, I get that. Yeah, having that bigger office, like something like Call of Duty, where we know it is like almost like 5,000 people. I'm sure some of those people are working at home because they can. Whatever they're doing is not, it's not is important enough for someone to be in a room together going, okay, what's going on with this?
Right.
So, it's probably a mixture of both. Mm-hmm. But since, that's pretty much the extent of my knowledge of game development.
And I'd also say like, in the end, I would like to see a certain percentage of work from home developers and a certain percentage of, traditional developers and see who outcompetes who.
Yeah.
Right. Just so if there is actually a tangible benefit, then over time you're going to see more and more work from home studios, right?
I don't know if that would work out. Like,
I'm just saying, no, it has to. It's like evolution. It's like competition. It's the nature of competition. It's like if you have enough developers working from home and they have a little bit of an advantage or a little bit of a heads up because we're increasing our productivity, you're going to outcompete the equivalent studios who have to trudge into work and be miserable, right?
That's a good point too. Like 343 was talking about, we had so many problems with COVID and we were having to go home and this and this and this. And there were other studios that, their products came in at the same time and they were working through COVID as well and having the same issues. But they're like, here it is, man. It's done.
Right.
It's 100%.
Yeah.
So what happened? Why does one studio fail at that and one studio doesn't?
It's hard to say. There's a lot of context to everything. Right?
It's complicated. It is complicated.
It's got to be.
I know me personally, I can never do the work from home. I can't handle distraction at all, right? I know a lot of people can. A lot of people are like, a lot of people increase their productivity.
Yeah.
By just waking up out of bed and getting to work, right?
I like seeing people throughout the day, so I do like going to the office. But I mean, I don't have a choice anyways because I'm pretty hands-on with what I do. So
okay.
Same here.
Yeah. And it's funny. I always tell you guys, I'm like, I can't wait for these metaverse type video games. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And then the other part of me is like, I don't want all people just staying in their house all the time. Like, what is going to happen to society at that point, right?
You know what? Once AI takes over the internet, everyone will be back outside.
Yeah, I guess so. Once the war starts. Yeah. All right. So Scott, was that your big story this week, or did you have another one?
No, that was pretty much it.
That was I like that, Scott.
Everything hit like yesterday, so
I know, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a good discussion.
It was. It was great. Now, Thick, what about you?
Well, my interesting news bit for this week is Nintendo's financial earnings for this
walk us through this. Yeah.
All right. So, this was it. Financial year ending in March 2023, right? Mm-hmm. They have sold about 18 million Switches, which is what they were kind of expecting. They were expecting around that number. So I kind of look at the breakdown, and it seems like a lot of OLED Switches, but then like the regular model, like the basic model,
right?
And the Lite, it's kind of gone down slightly, but that makes sense.
Wait, what's selling more? What's selling more?
The OLED version, the nice looking screen one. Yeah,
it's like a slightly bigger screen too.
Slightly bigger screen. Yeah, maybe slightly bigger. I mean, it's really only beneficial if you play handheld.
Okay.
Yeah. They've said that this means they've reached 125 million consoles sold. Wow. Making it the third best-selling console of all time.
Behind the what?
Take a guess. You guys take a guess.
I'd go PS2.
Actually, Wii is below. The number 2 is Nintendo DS. Number 1 is PS2.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
I guess the Wii was hot for like 3.5 years, and then it fell off the cliff, right?
It seems like it was here for like 10 years. I guess it wasn't, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think if I recall, the number for Wii was like 1 114 million. 114
Oh,
million.
okay.
Yes.
Okay.
A 1 billion software sales. Can you guys guess what the top is? I think we've mentioned it before.
Best Mario
it's gonna
Kart
be
Deluxe.
Yes, it's Mario Kart.
Was it really?
Yeah. Interesting enough, do you guys remember Ring Fit Adventure?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a big success.
Yeah, 15 million. It's
Wow.
like, was it top 10? It used to be top 9, but I think another title took over. Oh, the Wii U port, New Super Mario Brothers U. It was basically a Wii U port. It sold 15 million as well, which is surprising. That's like printing money right there.
Right.
And also keep in mind that none of these have ever gone on sale ever.
Rarely, yeah.
Yeah, so they're making the bucks.
Yeah. But the momentum is slowing, is what they're saying. So what they're kind of expecting for in the next fiscal year is, they did say don't expect new hardware. So no Switch
So
Pro,
March 2023 to March 2024, no hardware.
no hardware. They're saying maybe other people are speculating spring of 2024.
Okay.
Yeah, but I mean, if it's, would they mention that? It's like, hey, don't buy anything right now.
Yeah.
We got this new one coming out. I mean, they wouldn't say that. They
wouldn't say that. They've done this before.
Like, yeah, go ahead and get that Switch. If you're thinking about getting it, it's going to be a minute. Go ahead and get it.
But Thick, tell me if I'm wrong here. In these, this is like an earnings report. I don't think you can like omit vital information like that in this scenario, right?
So I think like it was a tweet that mentioned the no hardware thing. So it wasn't like directly in this report.
Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, on top of the report, this is like just what we've heard so far. Nothing to expect till March.
From Nintendo USA too. Yeah.
So to quote a GIF that we just used, so you're telling me there's a chance.
I mean, they did do that for, I forget which hardware. It might have been the new 3DS back in the day. I think they said no 3DS hardware, and then boom,
then
it just dropped
out.
randomly.
Right.
See, when did the Switch come out? 2017?
17, yeah.
17.
March 2017.
Man, that's... Yeah, they need some new hardware.
Yeah, year 7 now.
Yeah.
I'll be very... So none of these numbers include, was it Tears of the Kingdom? So I'm curious where that's going to land for whatever, the first, Q1 or whatever.
I'm sure they went up, yeah.
Wait a second. Scott just said they need new hardware bad, and they just released a game that I think is going to sell better than Breath of the Wild.
Oh, yeah, probably.
So it's
probably.
So when we say they need new hardware, I mean, I know we think they need new hardware, but do they really need new hardware? Like if you go to...
I mean, from their standpoint, they don't. I'm just saying me. It's That's like, going, you're in a parking lot, somebody's getting out of a car, you go, hey, that front tire needs some air in it, buddy. That's the way I look. Like, you need some new hardware.
Right, okay.
That's old.
From what I understand, Tears of the Kingdom, it's kind of like a feat that it was able to play on the Switch.
Run on the thing.
But it's, you could tell it's getting old. It's getting weak in the knees.
Have you seen the so stupid the comparisons between Redfall and Tears of the Kingdom on Twitter? And people are going, you complained about 30 frames per second, and I'm like, on like the touted as the most powerful console ever made is 30 frames per second, and this 17-year-old cell phone, or I'm sorry, 7-year-old cell phone is getting 30 or maybe 30. Yeah. Like, who's even complaining about that?
And there's also a difference between 30 frames per second in a bad game and 30 frames per second in a good game.
Right.
Yeah, it adds a different layer of weight to it, right?
Right.
But
right.
That said, I think I would direct that comment, like complaint about 30 frames, to people that say it's unplayable, because I don't find Redfall unplayable in the frame aspect, but everything else, it has bigger problems.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's in the 30 frames per second. It's just that's the tip of the iceberg right there.
Yeah.
But Tears of the Kingdom, which I have not played, does not look good. It doesn't look good. But what I'm seeing people do with that game and play with it, man, I'm all about it. Tools. Give me stuff to do. Give me an open world. Yeah. Give me things that I can, be creative and kind of make my own game out of it. And man, that's just fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah. Way to go, Nintendo.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Hype.
They did something good.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I guess I wanted to ask you guys this question. You remember when we were growing up, it was like there was a thing called price cuts with hardware.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
What the heck happened to that?
Yeah. What happened?
Some
happened,
people are
Thick?
thinking.
No.
Some people are thinking the Switch will probably get a price cut. I don't know.
Yeah, when they announced the new one,
Yeah.
Right.
maybe.
It'll just be to clear shelf space, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was in a Target yesterday, and I went through the of course the video game stuff, and I saw they had full stock of
Everything?
Switches. Yeah, with everything.
Oh, okay.
And I'm looking at it, I'm like, wow, $299. I mean that is the launch price.
I know.
Wow.
I feel like I remember the original PlayStation. You remember when it turned into that little like bubbly small thing?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then it had it would sell separately. They'd sell this little screen that you could attach on the little
yeah, I
bubble one.
remember that. I remember that.
And I feel like you could see ads like $99 plus add this thing for another, $79 or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, they just kept getting
We're
smaller
old.
and smaller and smaller.
I like the PS2 Slim. They're really it's like a DVD case.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Those are cool.
Yeah, I think my friend put one of those in his car.
And then
Alright.
you have the PS5, which is you could
Which is
brace a front
yeah.
porch with it.
10 GameCube stuck together.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the ceiling's
Pretty
falling
much.
in. Hurry up, put the PS5 under it. Yeah,
Yeah, right.
they'll get there.
Well, Thick, was there any other piece of information we could glean from this?
I don't know. I think that covers most of it. I think their revenues down, I believe. But I mean, relatively bad for them, I guess. But otherwise,
And like good
still
for
doing good. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Good.
Oh, I do want to say this. You know how I jumped on what was it? Hi-Fi Rush a little while ago.
Mhm.
And, to your chagrin, I would say.
Maybe.
Now I'm jumping on this Mario Odyssey thing. Mario Odyssey has like a 97 or 98 Metascore.
Okay.
Sold 25 million, by the way.
It sold a ton. I agree.
Yeah.
But if you listen to internet discourse over the past 4 years, no one talks about Mario Odyssey. Like
they really don't.
Breath of the Wild, people rave about that game.
Yeah.
No one talks about Odyssey anymore. What the heck?
Are you saying
Thoughts?
it's a better game?
I think that game was insanely overrated. Mario Odyssey. You could
Yeah.
throw your hat. I guess the big thing, you could throw your hat and
You
you
could
could
throw
jump
your
on
hat
it.
and take over other animals. Yeah, I think it is a product of a little bit of hype. I
Yeah.
never started it.
Yeah.
It definitely does not have much gameplay as Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, I just feel like it's like another example of like games media just like getting it wrong to a certain extent. Because
What?
when I played Odyssey, I was like, oh, this is a good game for like someone who's like just getting into games, like trying to figure out the analog stick and like when to press jump. Like if you're like 8 years old, like that's a great game for you. But if you're a 37-year-old man, how can you give that game a 10 out of 10? But whatever. It's like that Nintendo's Hi-Fi Rush that commercially did a little bit better.
Nintendo always does have a bias. So, I mean, some people are saying Tears of the Kingdom is the top Zelda game. I think it's too early to say
Too early.
that.
Yeah. You got to wait 6 months, a year.
You gotta
to
let
really
it
get-
simmer, right?
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
You do. Yeah. All right. So, Thick, was that your big story, or do you have another story for us?
Now it's your turn.
Let me ask you guys a question. Why do you prefer to do one story? What is the preference?
I do one story if I feel like it's something that we could take
Speaks to
our time
you.
with, and
Okay,
we
okay.
could take our
I've
time
done
and
2
talk
stories
about it. Yeah.
before.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I did 3 stories, and I think 2 of them are terrible. So,
Oh,
maybe-
okay.
Okay, maybe
Quick
that's
fire, right? This is our palate cleanser. So let's go.
Yeah. All right, here we go. My first news story is EA says Dragon Age Dreadwolf won't release before April 2024. Last week, EA announced all the games it planned to release in the current fiscal year, and Dragon Age Dreadful did not make the list. Why did I have that as a news story? I mean, what can
How
we
did
talk
I miss
about?
that? We could talk about that game is probably in serious trouble. Yeah.
No, I showed the GIF, that little GIF to Thick, and me and Thick liked what we saw. Did we not, Thick?
Yes, it's fine to me.
No, I did
action-y?
too. I like that. I'm just saying,
Yeah.
as far as like studio wise.
Oh, what are they?
This is post Anthem, BioWare.
Okay.
So It's got.
Do we know what studio is working on this?
That's BioWare.
Oh, it's just BioWare.
So
Yeah.
BioWare's last game was
Anthem? No, the Mass
wait,
Effect
wait.
collection.
Okay.
Right?
Well, yeah, technically. But
Technically,
there's
yeah.
two BioWares, right? There's
Austin and Edmonton.
something like that, yeah. But now there's only one. Seems like I remember they closed or they
consolidated or something.
Maybe
Yeah, I
I'm
could
thinking
see
of
that.
something else. But yeah,
right.
this game's got to be good. I mean, for them, for EA, it's got to be. So if they need more time to
let them have it.
Whatever they're doing, just let them have it.
Did you like Inquisition, by the way? Like, this is coming. This is based off the story, I think.
Yeah. I never played it. I'm assuming it's been so long since Inquisition, it's going to be a new jumping in point, right?
Kind of. Okay,
yeah.
so
let
me just cut in real quick. There's a pretty good deal on Steam right now. For $20, you get all the Dragon Age, all the Mass Effects.
For $20?
Complete editions, yeah.
Wow.
Oh, cool.
$20.
Really? Nice.
Yeah, on Steam.
Both of you have all those games already, though, right?
I just bought the bundle. I had it elsewhere, like on my Xbox, but I was like, okay, I could play some of these on my Steam deck.
Okay.
So.
Okay.
Yeah, just skip Dragon Age 2. Just skip it.
That was the black sheep.
I did not mind it. It was definitely.
It was okay, but it's not a have-to play. You could play the first one, and then you could play Inquisition, and you get pretty much everything you need probably to go into the.
Yeah. If you're playing Origins and you jump to 2, it's pretty jarring.
Yeah, because it's not really even in. It's. Anyway.
Yeah.
It's not a bad game. If it was released by itself, no one would be like, it's a pretty good game, and everybody.
People say that about Andromeda too.
Yeah, exactly.
It got better after the patches. It
did.
It did get better. It was not a terrible game. It was just a terrible Mass Effect game. But that's a whole different discussion.
Well, speaking of terrible, here's my second terrible news story. Okay.
I like the segue.
Thank you. EA's Andrew Wilson says the Battlefield franchise is a meaningful part of the publisher's future. Quote, EA has the ability to bring Battlefield back in an entirely new way in the future, though he did not specify what that means. Wilson also said that Battlefield is firmly planted in EA's strategy of building games and experiences that attract and entertain massive online communities across platforms, business models, and geographies.
Wow, that's some Carpo speak right there, right?
Yeah, it's.
I have a question. For both of you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hit it.
All right, I'm gonna let Scott simmer on this one, so I'm gonna go to Thick first. Thick.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Thick. How do you fix Battlefield?
Ooh.
Because I feel like it's borderline unfixable. I feel like you can't fix it.
In what way? What do you mean?
I just feel like you can't be part of a 32 or 64 man team and feel like you're making like accomplishments or you're doing big things. You're impacting the outcome.
That's why they do 4-man squads, right? That it's kind of like you work as a squad. You should be, but I mean that's what they try to incentivize in some ways.
So the big moments are like keeping your squad up and taking
more or less playing with like a big team.
I can't tell you that a good squad can mean the difference between winning an entire match.
Yeah.
I know I hear that, but then I'm like, well, 80% of the players aren't good squads. Like
they just run around.
I'm like,
right?
So
that's
then you're
me
just
too.
I mean, like you and 3 of your friends. Let me reiterate that. Yeah.
Right. And I feel like really any PvP game is fun if you're like you're the alpha predator in the PvP game. I don't care if it's traditional Call of Duty. I don't care what it is. It's fun. So it's like, in my opinion, Battlefield needs to solve the problem of like the grunt soldiers who are just like everyday regular players having fun and wanting to play that game for years and years out.
Yeah.
Right. Now Scott, you tell us how to fix this franchise.
I can tell you what he means by what he said.
Okay.
It means it's going free to play and it's going to be riddled with microtransactions.
Most likely.
Yeah, most likely. But Nate, I think you're hitting on something that probably does have to change with Battlefield. When they went from 64 to 128 players, we saw
people didn't like
difference. No, it was terrible. Right. It was absolutely terrible because you have no sense of who's on your team, what your team's doing. Not to mention that 2042 just did a very poor job of giving you any sense of being on an army against another army. Everybody looked exactly the same.
Yeah,
It
it
was just
felt
the
like you were in a blender. You were in a
dumbest
blender.
thing ever. Like, yeah, like there's a person that looks just like you, but they're on the other team.
And they're shooting you now. Yeah.
Yeah, so unless you have red dot, I shoot you.
Yeah.
I think with coming from 2042, man, I don't know how you fix that. I really don't. I mean, it's getting better, but as the game itself, I just can't play it anymore. But if I look back at like Battlefield 5 or even better, Battlefield 1, Battlefield 1 was the best Battlefield. I'll argue that with anybody. It was just fantastic.
Tell me what did it do differently?
Because for one, it gives you a lot of options and it gives you a lot of immersion. And I think immersion is one of the things that
Battlefield does well.
In those, yes, well, some of them do. In those large scale battles, that you do feel like you are there, and that's kind of the whole point, you know, in the larger conquest battles. Now there are other modes that are smaller, and I think that going forward, that may be what they want to concentrate on. Is instead of going 128 player, shrinking it down, making smaller maps, making it more, just more focused, you know. And I'm not saying I'm not going to, you know, bring up the C word, but not fight a trend, but kind of reinvent it in a smaller scale with still having the things that Battlefield fans love, like, you know, helicopters and planes and all the vehicles and you know, all the classes and the build
server browser.
Just start with the plain functionality of the previous games, you know.
Yeah.
And going from there.
Yeah. I do know, like, back in the day, I feel like I was playing a lot of Halo at the time, and then Battlefield came out. I don't remember which
Bad
Battlefield
Company
it was.
2. Bad
Was it-
Company 2,
Man,
right?
that was
That's my favorite. Like,
mine too.
More than one.
And
Yeah.
the single player game as well.
Yeah.
I would love it if Marcus Lito's what's the Ridgeline Studios, Ridgeline something. They're working on a single player game in Battlefield universe, and I'm really hoping that it's Bad Company 3.
Okay.
Because that's just a, you know, action comedy game right out of a movie, and that's what Battlefield does. They're just a big movie game.
Yeah.
You know,
I feel like the one thing that obviously that single player does better than multiplayer is single player. They make you the strongest guy on that. They make most players the alpha predator, like just with their higher health and their a bunch of different things, right?
Right.
But I guess, like, Scott, when you're saying that you got to scale it back, then I'm like, well, at what point doesn't it become Battlefield and then it becomes like a Tarkov?
Yeah, I mean,
like, how much do you scale back? Oh, you only have right.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that, you know, cut the maps in half or anything like that.
Right.
But instead, I think just instead of going bigger, just go a little smaller and more focused. You know.
Okay.
One of the main complaints from me and the community for Battlefield 2042 is a lot of the maps, when you start on the map, you're walking for almost 2 minutes, just running across the map. And of course, you can't get a ride from anybody because it's one guy and an
They
APC.
whiz right by you.
Yeah, they're like, I'm like, you got like 14 seats in there, buddy. It's basically a school bus. Why don't you pick anybody up? So you run and run and run and run in this big open map, and then somebody snipes you. And then you start back where you know, how that is the opposite of fun.
Right. I hate snipers in Battlefield games. Just saying.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, and I've said this before, it's like, does every first-person shooter have to have sniper rifles? The answer is no, they do not. I mean, I understand it in Battlefield in most games, but come on, man. So,
guys, can I say something? I haven't talked about this game in a long time, but Fortnite has snipers, and I think the sniping is enjoyable in that game.
Yeah, I'm not saying take it out of every game. I'm just saying that not every game has to have a sniper.
It's not enjoyable if you're on the other side.
Just instantly getting deleted.
I just think that it would be better. It would be, it's stopping games from getting better. It's like, hey, what do we do with this? I'll just put some snipers on it, and they'll take care of itself. Well, no, I'm just coming up with something a little bit different that, you know, is not just the old sniper.
Yeah,
I don't know. I mean, that's
okay. Quick question.
Yeah.
What is the best sniping in the game?
Ooh,
what do you mean?
Sniper
like
Elite
just
5.
in any game.
Yeah, Sniper Elite
like
5.
the feel of it, right?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh man,
I'm going
when you
with...
hit that slow mo. Oh
yeah,
it's It's very satisfying. It is.
Yeah.
I'm going with Fortnite, but
Have you played
me and
Sniper
Scott have.
Elite 5?
I don't think I played 5. I think I played 4, and I
good
just
too.
I don't get enjoyment out of killing AI bots. I get enjoyment out of killing humans, right? So that's what makes it feel good for me.
Okay,
Like, I
well,
just-
multiplayer. Yeah, multiplayer.
it's
I would
different.
say. Yeah, I would say Battlefield's probably got
It's pretty
some
good.
Yeah, because
It has good feel. Yeah.
It does. It does. And again, I'm not saying don't take sniper rifles out of Battlefield. I'm just saying it doesn't have to have it in every game. And I've watched people calculate the wind, and I mean they're like, what is this guy even pointing at? Pow. And then way
really?
across the map,
Yeah.
somebody just ding. I mean, there's a lot of things that like bullet drop and in previous games, I don't know, in 2042, I didn't do a lot of sniping. So it's probably like a laser beam. It's knowing that game. But
Guys, before we move on from this topic, what is the old war movie? I think it's from the 70s, where this small platoon, they're in I think it's in Vietnam, where this female child soldier is sniping them, and it's like this heart-wrenching 10-minute scene where their buddy is in the middle of and he's gonna get sniped again and again, and they gotta circle around back and go upstairs, and then it's a little
Apocalypse
eight-year-old.
Now?
Maybe it's Apocalypse Now. But I remember seeing that scene being like, oh my gosh, that's the most heart-wrenching thing ever. And I'm like, video games don't do that at all. They don't give you that 10-minute snipe scenario where you're like, where is he? We got to communicate. We got to outthink this sniper. It's just I'm running forward. I got deleted.
Is that your favorite sniping movie?
Well, I feel like in Fortnite you get more of the scenes where is the sniper? Can you find the sniper? It's a little more in that direction, you know what I mean?
Previous Battlefields were kind of like that, because if you spotted the sniper, then you took out the building.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Yeah, I mean,
that's cool.
it's
That's cool.
okay, shoot that rocket. Where is he? I don't know. Hit the floor below him.
Yeah.
The whole thing just comes down. 2042, not so much. I mean, it just doesn't do that. So that would be on my checklist as well. Bring back just insane destruction of maps.
What's that game? What's the game you got to look forward to? That big destruction shooter that's coming out soon.
Is it
The finals, that's right.
Yeah.
I think
and
that's
those
it.
guys, guess where they came from? They came from
Battlefield.
Dice.
Yeah.
Exactly. So they probably stole it and took it with them, and they're like, "What do we do now?"
What engine is the finals on? Is it Frostbite?
Ooh, I don't know. I'm not sure.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. They'd have to license the
Yeah,
Frostbite
that's what I was
engine from
thinking,
EA.
right?
Ooh.
You would think
Now
they would not.
I am curious now.
Yeah, we're
we'll
gonna have to
find
find out, because I know they're using the same engine for Arc Raiders.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
Is
there's
that your-
news.
is
News
that your
is
other
No,
news
no.
story?
Thick, I want you to stop talking. Because I'm going to start reading this, okay?
Okay.
All right.
Is that a
My
segue?
final news story is not garbage. It's cooperative open world shooter Arc Raiders has officially changed genres. The game, which was originally slated to come out last year, is now PvE survival extraction shooter. Let me continue, okay? Arc Raiders producer Alexander Grondel posted the following in a blog post. He says, quote, last spring we made the decision to release Arc Raiders in order to delay the release of Arc Raiders in order to focus on the finals, our team-based first-person shooter, as our first game. At the time, we also said we were giving the Arc Raiders team time to add player versus player to the existing foundation of the game. Since then, over the course of development, Arc Raiders has taken the shape of what we believe to be a truly promising player versus environment survival extraction shooter, a game that stays true to the Arc Raiders universe. Thank goodness. Everyone's like, yes. And we're having a blast.
Universe.
Everyone loves the Arc Raiders universe.
Yeah.
And we're having a blast play testing the game. Scott instantly got sad when I read that. I instantly got happy when I read that.
I know. Isn't that funny?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. It's like co-op. Where's co-op going? I don't want to go away.
I will say this. I will say, Scott, I think maybe all three of us. Were you high on Arc Raiders?
Yeah,
I feel
I'm
like
interested. I wasn't expecting it this year, but
right. I know it was originally supposed to be last year, and then I thought they said we're delaying it a year, but so who knows now when it'll come out? But I will say that. Whoa, what's that?
Was it the finals will be so successful they'll cancel Arc Raiders?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. Because the finals comes out. Well, we don't know when it comes out, but they're doing play testing now. They're not doing play testing for Arc Raiders yet.
I feel like I've heard on YouTube. I don't know which YouTubers are saying it, but they're saying that that's a pretty polished experience already. The finals.
Yeah, I think
finals?
Is it Jack Frags? I think played it and was saying that it's legit. Like what they're saying,
ready,
what they're saying about it and how it plays, it's exactly that. So yeah.
Thick, are you were you happy or were you sad? So when I asked this question, there's that Survivor gif where the two girls in front are frowning and then that guy in the back, he gives a big smile. You know what gif I'm talking about?
You'll have to.
I'll do it in the Discord. So where were you? Smile or frown on this one?
I'm all for it. Wherever they think is best for the game. Hopefully that didn't mean we lose a bad co-op game.
Right.
But I hope we get a pretty good PvE experience. Because I'm hoping to see more innovation in this sector.
Yeah, there's been one decent. Well, I guess you would say the Cycle Frontier is a good effort.
The Cycle used to be, I think, a battle royale, but then they changed it to PvE.
And it seemed like both iterations didn't really land.
The Cycle's still around. I don't know how much longer. I feel like it had some surge.
Yeah. Scott just got Scott. Say what you're gonna say, all right?
Yeah.
I think they're just chasing a trend. I mean, just what?
Scott, I can't stand that term. I can't stand chasing a trend. Let me tell you other companies that chase trends. Okay, can I tell you? Apple chased the smartphone trend. They chased it because remember BlackBerry did it. And let me tell you some other companies that Sony chased the video game trend, right?
Yeah.
There's like a lot of trends that have long-term merit. You know what I mean?
But what you're talking about is not a game genre. It's not, I mean,
Tarkov is not.
It's just like last week, we were talking about like Redfall is a good example. It's like this was obviously a looter shooter, live service game, and when they saw this, like, well, this is not going to work that way, and look at all these other games that are failing. Let's just make it a co-op, single player or whatever focused game. That's what happens when you're chasing the trends. These games are taking longer and longer to come out. So when you're like, hey, this is what's hot, let's make one of these. In 5 years, what's gonna be? Is it still gonna be a thing? And then you come out with it, and it just I don't know. I'm sure that they know what they're doing.
I don't know if you can say that. I don't know if you can say they're sure.
But
they're taking a gamble.
They are taking a gamble.
It's still somewhat new.
I mean, honestly, they were taking a gamble with a third-person, co-op, shooter. But
right.
I mean, that's who else is doing that right now? I mean, that's it seems like everybody's now trying to make an extraction game.
Yeah.
What's the top 2 extraction games right now?
Tarkov
and DMZ.
Tarkov?
Yeah.
Oh, and DMZ. That's right.
Maybe Hunt Showdown.
That's been extraction.
It kind of is, but it's not that popular. It's really good from what I understand. I haven't played it.
Yeah.
But it's just not. It's never made commercial success, or it's not gotten to that point of Nobody puts it in line with Tarkov and DMZ. It just doesn't have the numbers. So again, make something different. Make something new.
I can't. I'm so down on Scott right now. I'm so down on him. I know, Scott. These are your true feelings, but I just think like this is such a new genre that you got to take 10 cracks at it before you can really okay.
I do agree. It's new. It's newer than co-op shooter.
We've seen a billion co-op shooters. 1 billion.
We've only
last
seen
year.
1,000 extraction shooters. So
name
we got room to go.
five.
We got room to go.
Right.
Scott and Thick, name 5 extraction shooters.
DMZ, Tarkov, Cycle Frontier.
That's 3. Don't say Hunt Showdown. You just crossed out.
No.
Marauders is one.
Marauders. And
is that out yet? Is that out?
It is out.
It is, yeah.
Okay, you got one more.
What
it's going to be an awkward podcast. This is going to be an awkward part of the show.
Showdown.
Rainbow Six Extraction.
No,
that is not. That is
that
not
is a co-op shooter.
Extraction's in the name.
It's in the name, but it's a co-op shooter. Confusing, I know.
Yeah,
that's why I didn't sell well.
And I know it's not out yet. In Finals, it's not an extraction shooter.
No,
It's
that's like
it's something different.
No, wait, you are extracting something.
You
right?
are extracting
money.
something, but
But
let's not forget that what was the first one? It was the Dark Zone in the Division. That is totally an extraction game.
Okay.
So,
you finally got
That is
to
the
5.
best one.
You got 5.
I did have a lot more fun in that one than probably any of them.
Any other
You know,
ones?
I have a clip of me in the Dark Zone chasing this one guy, and he was just,
Don't shoot
it's
me.
funny.
It's probably me. I don't have anything.
Yeah, it was rough. Oh, you know what? Isn't Sea of Thieves in a way almost like an extraction shooter?
What are you extracting?
Not a shooter.
Yeah.
You are.
You're
It's more of an
extracting
extraction.
treasure. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't just pick up loot. You have to like turn it in to get gold.
Yeah.
To get.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, that's a good one, Thick.
All right, that's 6. That's 6.
Yeah.
All right, you fulfilled your duty
See?
as a fellow co-host. Yes.
It's saturated. Too many.
All right. I'm super high on this. I can't wait to see what it turns into because visually I feel like it looks interesting. I like third person. I like the art direction, right?
Yeah, it looks amazing. I mean, it does look really good. So
Yeah.
I would love to get in was it beta or testing?
Mm-hmm.
So
I signed up for the finals and I haven't gotten anything.
yeah, same thing.
I don't know if they're doing I think they're internal still.
Maybe we got to send them a message. Tell them about a podcast.
Yeah.
That's right.
It's like,
Yeah.
I think we're called influencers now.
Yeah.
right.
That's how I introduce myself in public.
I'm Nate the influencer.
All right, guys, should we move on to the rumor mill? I think we should.
Yeah, let's do.
Let's do it.
All right, rumors this week. We got 4 of them. Number 1. Now, this is a 4chan rumor, so take that as you will. According to a post on 4chan, ID Software has been working closely with Bethesda to overhaul Starfield's combat since last August. Is this just a 14-year-old kid who's, doing it? Or
That seems like people are throwing it on the dartboard, and maybe it could be true.
Well, Fallout, they did reach out to Bungie when they did Fallout 4 to get their, shooting down because it's, Fallout 3 was not that great.
did Fallout 4 feel a lot better?
Oh yeah,
Oh, it did?
100%.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
It actually felt like a shooter.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
So I could see that. Maybe. Yeah.
I will say that was kind of the one area in that reveal trailer where you're like, oh, that doesn't look good.
It looks okay.
Yeah, it looks okay.
looks okay.
It looks like
okay.
it's I can't stand it when bullets are like traced and they're not going where the gun is pointing. It's kind of like it's going to the target and not like anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe they fix that.
Rumor number 2.
Okay.
Rumor number 2. All right.
All right.
Jez Corden says that Xbox is ditching the quote next 12 months strategy for their next showcase.
I don't feel like that's a rumor.
Yeah,
That's just
smart.
That's just smart.
They set up expectations. They weren't able to meet it. But I mean, if they're not doing it for the next one, does that mean they can't meet anything in the next 12 months? That's what some people are probably saying, right?
Like nothing's releasing in the next 12 months.
Yeah, when people just want to see something, right?
Right.
So,
Right.
but I'm hoping for a good showing this June or whatever. So
Yeah. No. Now it's fun times for us. It's fun times, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
we're getting there.
Yeah. I feel like it's not very often you feel like a 15-year-old kid anymore. For some reason E3 time, I still get in deep down I still like, oh, I can't wait to see it, which is probably unhealthy. But let's go to rumor number 3.
know.
Yeah.
You're in the wrong crowd if you're asking me.
Yeah. All right. That's true. That's true. All right. Room number 3. PlayStation-backed studio Deviation Games has been hit with a massive amount of layoffs. Sources tell VGC that up to 90 developers may have been affected. This one hurt my heart because you guys know I'm gassy.
Yeah.
I'm real gassy.
What is their pedigree as a studio?
I think the founders were from Call of Duty. I want to say there's a Blundell. Do you guys know a Blundell? Jason Blundell. I can't remember, but he left the studio like a month ago.
They haven't shipped anything as a studio yet, right?
No, brand new studio.
Okay.
Just I think a couple of the founders were from for Call of Duty, but
This
so I got this was early in development.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to say. It's like, I
Yeah.
mean, we haven't seen anything released, so it's kind of hard to say whether good or bad.
Right. But for someone who is so excited for PlayStation's 12 gassy titles,
You mean 11 now?
I know. Don't say that. And actually, let me get to my fourth rumor. All right.
All right.
Sony has canceled Final Strike's game that was in development for 3 years. This game may have also been the one Deviation Games was working on, as Final Strike looks to be a support studio. Apparently, they just closed up shop too.
Yeah.
So it sounds like a lot of people were laid off there.
Yeah.
I do know this. I guess we could add this to a rumor. There was a studio called not Firewalk. It was Fire Sprite, maybe.
Yeah, I think they were.
They got purchased by PlayStation.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. I know at the time of purchase, I'm so much of a nerd that I'll actually go on their website and I'll look at their hiring. Who are they hiring?
Mhm.
And at the time,
Did you apply?
I did not apply.
Okay.
Look, it's just for the podcast, okay? At the time, they were hiring for like a large scale open world shooter. And I'm like, oh, here we go. I'm so gassy. I'm getting even more gassy. Now it just says they're hiring for a multiplayer action game, which is assumed to be Twisted Metal, and they're hiring for like a dark narrative adventure game, which is one of those single player games that I can't stand. You know what I mean? So I guess if you're making a gassy title, you're probably going to be hiring people throughout and after launch, right?
Yeah.
Right.
So it's a little unsettling that they seemingly closed up shop there. But those were our 4 rumors this week. No round of applause, just dead silence.
I was getting ready to. Okay, it just took me some time.
Okay, all right. Let's go to our last segment of the show. Obviously, big talk, and I think it sounds like, I would say with 90% certainty, PlayStation's about to go and enter a PlayStation Showcase. Do you guys agree with that?
Yeah.
More or less, yeah.
Jeff Grubb is like, I think he said the week of May 25th, so it's 10 days or less. So I thought we could at least go through and give a couple of predictions each. I guess I'll lead us off. Okay.
Go ahead.
Can I add a little context right now?
Of course you can. Of course you can.
What do we know about the upcoming 6 months? Right now, it seems kind of late. Maybe Spider-Man 2, maybe
for PlayStation.
Final
for PlayStation,
Fantasy, and that's it.
I think those are the two big. Honestly, there's 3 games that we know about: Wolverine, which is 2.5 years away.
Yeah.
Spider-Man 2 and Final Fantasy.
Yeah,
I don't
Final
think we know about
Fantasy
it.
has a release date. Spider-Man 2, we haven't even seen gameplay.
Right. And I do know rumors keep popping up that's like a September game. I feel like
I don't see it. I really don't.
You don't see it?
I don't
No.
see it. I mean,
Yeah.
I've been wrong about that before, but
I will say
it just seems that Sony's usually like, hey, check this out, check this out, check this out,
Yeah.
check this out.
Right.
Especially with something as high profile as Spider-Man, they haven't shown anything of it.
No, they haven't.
Yeah.
No.
So I'm okay. No, anyway, I'll save it for mine. But
Well, I will say too, with Insomniac seems to be oddly like productive of a studio.
It's their best studio, in my opinion. Okay, maybe Santa Monica is also the best.
It's up there.
Either one of them are probably what I.
But the
consider.
output between the two is like one studio gives you a game every 5.5 years, and the other one gives you 4 games every 2 years. It seems like
Right.
Yeah, I mean, God of War is like their Breath of the Wild, like
right.
Yeah.
Just the horrible game.
horrible, yeah.
Horrible, right?
Okay.
All right.
I'm waiting for the movie. I'm just gonna watch the movie.
All right. So I guess I didn't really prepare for this like I thought I was gonna, but I guess all I want to say is this is gonna be the gassiest PlayStation Showcase we've ever had.
Oh, so
I also feel like this one is this is gonna be like one for the ages in terms of just like, I on the internet they're kind of making fun of someone leaked out like, oh, this is phase 2 of PlayStation because the first phase are all cross-gen games and we've kind of pumped all those out, right? And this is like what the next phase of PlayStation looks like.
Next gen era. Everything's Christmas.
PS5 only. Right.
Right. So I guess my only real prediction is I think we're shoo-in to see Helldivers 2. Right?
I would like to see that. That would be a good time to show that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm hoping it's now an extraction, a PvE extraction shooter.
I don't think so. I think they'll keep the Helldiver branding.
No, I know Scott's on board with this, but that studio who makes that, which is Arrowhead, they've made like 3 co-op games, right? So I feel like they're a co-op studio, and I feel like if ever there's going to be an innovation with co-op, it's going to come from one of these studios that have been making them for 15 plus years, right?
Yeah.
So really, that's all I got. I don't have a lot of great stuff, people. Do you have a prediction here? Or a hope? You could even say a hope.
I'm trying to think.
Metal Gear. People are saying Metal Gear might show up. People are saying Castlevania might show up.
I'm really hoping they do something with the PSVR too.
Oh, really?
Like it needs kind of like more software to really justify it, because like now,
okay.
Yeah, it's kind of like in the background basically. They are releasing it at retail at least, so you can pick one up at like GameStop or something.
Okay, right. I think the big hope there is that Asobo studio, that who made that little
Plague Tale.
Wait, who?
Yeah, a Plague's Tale.
No, you're
not a Plague's Tale.
No, I'm thinking of Asobi maybe.
I think
they made
Asobi,
the Astrobot. They made Astrobot.
Astrobot,
okay.
Remember, it was like the Mario 64 moment for VR that really wasn't. But I think that's kind of the studio that you have to pin your hopes on to release a big revolutionary game, right?
VR title. Yeah, I
Yeah.
can see that.
Yeah. And Scott, let's throw it to you. We know you're a big PlayStation fan.
All right,
he's ready.
So this is my predictions for the show. Okay,
this is good. Someone prepared.
They're going to show a lot of Final Fantasy.
Oh, I hope you're wrong. I hope you're wrong.
I'm sorry.
I don't think they're going to show a lot of it.
More or less than 3 minutes. More or less than 3 minutes. I'm writing this down.
Maybe. Okay. I'm going to say more than 3 minutes. Absolutely.
I say a 1 minute saying it's out now.
Yeah.
That would, maybe a shadow drop. Okay. And then Spider-Man 2. This is what I hope. Okay. Spider-Man 2 gameplay and release date for 2024. That's probably what I'm guessing. Yeah.
Maybe January or March.
Yeah, it's probably going to be like early 2020. I just don't think it's going to be out this year.
They do like March. I feel like Sony,
that's fine.
did that with Horizon.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
I just, I don't think that's going to do it. So the next one is going to be Ghost of Tsushima remake, the remaster.
We're going to see a remaster?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's so depressing.
Absolutely.
That is so depressing.
And I'm hoping for a
stop.
PC port release date for that one.
There's not one already?
No.
Not yet.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
And or a Horizon Zero Dawn remaster. One of the two. I don't think both. Multiplayer. Yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah.
But probably a remake for the PS5 and
a movie, a TV show.
Well, the TV show we know, right? I mean, that's already.
Or Horizon? I forget what, because I forget what they have TV or
there's a
media
Horizon
for
TV
now.
show. Yeah.
Okay.
And then we're going to see just some Japanese titles that are going to be shown. They're going to be obscure titles and obscure trailers, and then we're not going to see anything about them for the next 3 years.
Gravity Rush 3.
No, not even that popular. It's going to just be stuff that's like, whoa, what is this? This is so weird, and then we won't see it again for.
It'll be hyped.
PS6.
Yeah, it'll be hyped to existence, but then it'll be forgotten after like a week.
Exactly. And then you'll be like, gosh, where did I see that game? Oh yeah, back in 2023. So those are my predictions. Some of them are kind of just hoping. Some of them are just from watching the last,
Let's see Sony start. Was it their live service game releases? I want to see at least 1 or 2.
Really?
Okay.
Now?
I was just gonna.
I don't think that's like 5 years from now.
Wait a second, Scott. You're telling me how many gassy games do you think we're going to see at this?
1, 2.
I can't believe I'm hearing this out of
4,
Scott.
at least.
Oh, you do think 4? I thought you just said 0.
Well, what are you calling gassy? Isn't it Final Fantasy?
No, gassy means
games as a service. I just realized that now. I thought gassy as in like, got to go to the bathroom kind of gassy, but
okay, no.
Okay.
Live service games, So how many live service games are we going to get?
No, I don't think we might see 1. Okay, but
you're so wrong. You're so wrong.
You think this is going to be all about games as a service? Really?
I think we're seeing at least 4.
I'm
going 4. You say 1.
Okay. Backing up just a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Could they be showing Bungie's Matter, their next game?
No, I think Bungie's on record saying, I just looked this up this week. Bungie has, in some kind of announcement, they said we're trying to release our next game by 2025.
Okay.
So I think you don't show that 2.5 years prior to release. And now, granted, I guess Bungie could. I guess Bungie could.
If you Sony,
They do a teaser.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't see it. I mean, I don't see this. It just seems like this last year, the end of this last year, they're like, I think we're going to start investing in these games of service instead of making these, 6-year long giant single player play and throw away games that just make enough money to pay for the game itself. I don't know. I just don't see it. I'm probably wrong, but
let me counter this. First of all, I think Helldivers came out in 2015.
Yeah.
So that studio has been leading up for now 8. We're on year 8.
Have they made anything since then though?
No, they've made nothing. I'm assuming they pushed into Helldivers 2 direction after that.
This may be big. This may be one of those, this was our game, but now we've added like 150 people, and here's our AAA version of that game, right?
Well, if you go to their blog, if you go to Arrowhead Studios blog, they have like a blog that once or twice a year they'll post something on it. And I think in like 2017, they were like, we're hiring a bunch of people. Our studio is now 80 employees.
Okay.
So,
well, that was awful.
So I think that one's ready to be cooked. It's ready to come out of the oven.
Yeah. I would like to see that. Yeah.
I'll tell you two more that we're going to see. Factions 2. That started near the end of development on The Last of Us 2, right? So we're 3-ish years after that, aren't we?
Yeah.
Right.
So I think it's a good timing too, considering how popular The Last of Us brand is right now.
Right.
And you think we're going to see like gameplay or just hey, remember this, we're still working on it?
Cinematic.
Okay.
Yeah, I think somewhere between real early gameplay and like really beefy cinematic, right? Somewhere between that, which
like
I'm playing.
Alpha gameplay at the bottom.
Yeah.
Okay, you're gonna get a teaser, and you're gonna have that what is it, like signature guitar play, and then the title shows up, and then everyone just cheers.
I hope not.
Freak out. And Neil Druckmann comes out and it's like, this is what we're working on, and
he
another.
He has a guitar.
You'll see it when we. Yeah. He looks like he would be on a street corner playing a guitar with a hat in front of him. But you could be right.
Mm-hmm.
I think that would be I think it really just depends on what they're going to have for the rest of the year. It looks like they don't have anything, but that's not really Sony, is it? I mean, if they're banking on Spider-Man 2 and it gets delayed, then we got another 2022 again with God of War.
Right.
Sorry, 2021.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know.
Do you guys think Spider-Man 2 will be that different than what we've seen so far? I feel like it's just going to be kind of like, very iterative, but like PlayStation 5 graphics.
I think it's going to be, I mean, it's going to kind of be like Zelda. It's going to be in the same city, same map. It's going to have different story elements and different characters.
You can explore the sewers.
Right, yeah. You can, so...
You can't even swing in it.
Right. Let me ask you, what else are you going to do with that?
Because you feel like it's New York City, right? That's integral to Spider-Man. I feel like I hear a lot on podcasts. People are like sick of New York City because they played Spider-Man and Miles Morales for probably a total of 40 hours.
Right.
I feel like that's like a kind of a crazy comment because I'm like, New York City's it's a massive city. You can do a lot in it. It's interesting to me how people are like, I need a new city. My brain needs a new location.
Well, I mean, like what? Okay, so take Spider-Man out of New York City and put him in, I don't know,
the multiverse.
Chicago. It's the same
it's
thing.
It's a city.
Yeah,
it's a city.
It's a cityscape. I mean, that's
where
Spider-Man lives.
It's what happens in the city that your brain kind of attaches to.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
One more thing I have to try to convince Scott. So Scott, Guerrilla Games, okay? Guerrilla Games is the studio that made Horizon
and Killzone.
And Killzone, that's right. An IP that I actually prefer, but that's besides the point.
Same here.
Same, yeah. In 2018, they hired Rainbow Six's Siege's one of their creative directors. I think his name's Simon LaRouche or something.
Simon LaRouche.
And so what I'm thinking is he went there in 2018 to kind of start up their multiplayer project. So
Could
that's
it be a
5 years
free-to-play
ago.
Killzone?
No, what I
Maybe-
think it's
maybe
going to be,
not, yeah.
it's going to be a free-to-play Horizon Monster Hunter-esque game.
No thanks.
No,
That is the rumor, probably,
That's-
right?
Is
that's
it
the
really?
rumor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I want a Killzone game.
I know. I do too. I'd much rather have the Killzone game.
Destiny will make it.
Yeah.
I mean, Bungie.
Well, I guess in Bungie's next game, and a lot of their job postings, they're saying like, "Oh, our next game's going to be a lot more lighthearted, whimsical."
That's
Which I'm like-
Killzone.
Yeah.
No, that's not. That's
I don't-
not Killzone.
I wouldn't call it whimsical.
Right.
Yeah, and not so heavily lore laden, I guess, is Destiny. Where
Yeah.
It's just
Right. So I think that's going to do it for our big talk. I hope we get an announcement sooner rather than later, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I mean, if it's the 25th, this is what we're recording this on the 16th.
right. And you know what he said? He said it's the week of the 25th, and he kind of intimated that it's likely going to be happening before the 25th, because I
What?
think the 25th is like the Friday of that week.
Yeah, why do they do that? Why don't they just why do they we know everybody else's schedule for the next 2 months of their
Why are they-
showcase, and
Right.
why does Sony do that?
I don't
It
get that
generates
either.
hype. So
Oh, you generate hype by saying, "Hey, we've got a showcase on this date."
Right. Or you know what? Announce it with like a weird teaser where people have to talk about the teaser. What is that thing that
Or
the
put a
camera
code
zoomed
up.
in on?
Yeah, you got to like solve the code to get the release
Right.
date.
Right.
Anything. I mean, it just makes it look like they don't have anything. It makes it look like they're
Yeah.
just like, check out this Final Fantasy footage. You know,
Right.
what about November? Check out this Final Fantasy footage.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Let's put down. Okay, I got a
Hit us. Yeah.
Let's pick a number of
Okay.
how many remakes they're going to have to show.
Oh,
So,
okay.
I'm going to say 2.
I'll say one. I'll say one.
Okay, Thick. What do you say?
1.5.
Wait.
Okay.
that was a 1.5.
Thick just lost. No,
Okay. I mean, I don't have any other choices. 0. How about that?
no, 2. You could do
We could
3.
pick 4. I mean, there could be.
I don't think
we
there's gonna be 4.
remastered everything. No. Okay. I'm gonna say
Yeah.
2, just to throw that.
Which ones? Which
No,
ones?
I'm not gonna
Scout.
say. No, I'm just gonna say that there's gonna be 2. It's gonna be a remaster of a previous game.
I'm gonna say Bloodborne.
You know, I was just gonna say,
There you go, there's
part of me hopes it's Bloodborne, just because when I go on the internet, I hear these stupid Bloodborne people. They're constantly obsessing over this game that
Yeah.
sold 2 million copies, and I'm like, just give them their thing that they want, so they don't have to flood the internet with, "Oh, I hope it's Bloodborne 60 frames per second." You know?
Yeah, anything, just anything,
Right.
just so they'll just.
That game does
away.
have really bad loading times. That's probably
it?
why.
So
Yeah,
you're
it's
saying it
terrible.
could benefit, and I think the frame
It
rate.
can definitely, yeah.
Yeah, the frame rate's terrible too on that.
I want a Killzone like Master Collection on PC as well.
Oh,
One, 2, and 3, and 4. Yes.
you would double dip in that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay,
Like 2,
okay.
2 was a fantastic shooter. It just was mauled by horrible controls and.
Yeah.
Horrible controller.
Well, I mean that doesn't help either. The afterthought controller. But man, that thing is. Yeah, it kind of still holds up a little bit. I mean, if you go
Really?
back and look at gameplay from the PS2, and
Mhm.
it's gritty, man. It's a gritty,
Right.
dark, savage shooter, and
Yeah.
they just don't make them like that anymore.
Sadly, I don't think we're going to see that, because I think that
No.
they put all their money on that Horizon franchise
Yeah,
with
it
the
makes
show
too
and
much
stuff.
money for them.
Right. So sad. All right, Scott. I think the podcast just ended, and I think you need to tell listeners how they interact with the show.
Well, you can leave a comment down below.
Yeah.
And you can also reach us on, well, our podcast is also on Spotify, Apple, Google, and pretty much anywhere you get your podcasts. So
Yeah.
check us out, audio version. If you don't care to look at us. And
Yeah.
And we have an email address from
No, don't even bring up the email.
1984.
We got to delete that email address. That thing is done.
Nobody uses email anymore.
Yeah. Thick, can you
we are
take
on Twitter? So just hit us up on Twitter.
Yeah, we are on Twitter. Let me talk about this. Thick, do you think me and you should be helping Scott support this Twitter initiative? I mean, this is a campaign, and we're just sitting on the sidelines back here.
What's Twitter?
I have been slacking off a little bit lately.
Scott, I peeped on your Twitter chain, and I was impressed. I'm
Really?
like, this is a person that has some initiative, and we're not helping. We're not helping, you know?
No,
So
I don't know about that.
I feel like I gotta go on that Twitter and talk about January 6th. Moving on.
Oh,
All right.
Hang on while I go change the password.
Thick,
all right.
Thick, will you take us to the School of Life?
Sure. The quote this week.
Yes.
Wisdom is the offspring of suffering and time.
Oh, this is nice.
It's from Path of Exile.
Nice.
So you're doing
I gotta source it now. Citation.
Okay. Yeah.
Now when Thick gives us that quote, should we be discussing the quote or should we just leave the quote?
Just simmer.
Just leave
on
it out there.
We should just have a simmer.
That's a self-interpretation.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, do the quote one more time because right now music's gonna be playing in the background and we're gonna say goodbye.
Oh, wisdom is the offspring of suffering and time.
Nice.
That's it. That's a show. We'll see everyone on Monday, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And Thick and Scott. When I say Monday, I freaking mean Monday.
On that
All right.
exact day.
We'll see.
We're doing it live.
Doing it live. Damn it, we'll do it live. That's right.
Okay.
All right, guys, you hang up because I'm gonna hang up and eject from this phone call if I do it.
Oh,